Releasing almost half a decade ago, Pirate Warriors 4 is the last installment in the Pirate Warrior series that aims to retell the tale of One Piece in the thematics of a Dynasty Warrior setting. But the question must be asked, does this game still hold up to today? Let's take a look. So you start off with a bang, and this entirely sets the breakneck speed seen throughout the rest of this game. In just the first 10 minutes alone, you fight Big Mama, take down a bunch of these guys. With all this crazy shit going on, you go into Gear 4 and are introduced to how combos, special moves, and enemy typings work. You then get clobbered by Kaido, you get a brief history about Luffy's ambitions, some quick flashbacks, and then you're off to embark on your adventure. It really is just a no fuss, no time wasting intro that aims to get you playing as quickly as possible, and that's really appreciated. But before we do dive into the game's combat, its story, the many upgrades and currency systems, I need to first ask, who is this game made for? Can just anyone pick this game up? Will non-One Piece fans or those just starting out still enjoy the game? Well, in my opinion, sadly not. You will enjoy the combat, and more on that in a moment, but this game will take you through many arcs that are spread across the entirety of the anime or manga series. Quite literally, from the early beginnings of the anime to the end. It will see you in early arcs like Arabasta or Alabasta, the Water 7, Enies Lobby, Sabaody Archipelago, and the Marineford. And these all take place pre-time skip around episode 62 to 489, and that is a lot of story to consider. However, the game fast forwards you into the post-time skip arcs. You'll visit Dressrosa, Whole Cake Island, and Wano Country, and Wano is pretty close to where the anime is at this current point in time. So with that in mind, I'd argue that no, if you are not a One Piece fan or if you haven't caught up to the show or the manga, it's really not for you. And it's also because of this reason I had to stop playing this game once I hit Whole Cake Island. Myself personally, I'm only just over episode 800 at the time of this recording, and I don't want this game to spoil anything for me. And be warned, spoilers just pop up in text boxes or they just pop up in cutscenes without warning. This is a game that is clearly made for the fans. Now, it's also because of this reason I will not be touching on the story here. If you've watched or read One Piece, you know the story, and if you haven't, you don't. So don't come into this game thinking you get a faithful retelling of the story, because it's just not gonna happen. Now, my enjoyment of this game really was heightened so much because I was familiar with the source material that this is based on. However, as soon as I got into territories I hadn't caught up to yet, the enjoyment dropped. The story felt watered down, and I was missing so much context that the anime gave me in relation to the new characters and locations that were popping up. But how is the game outside of that story component? If you haven't already noticed by now, One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 is basically what you get when you cross over One Piece with Dynasty Warriors franchise. If you've played Dynasty Warriors or Hyrule Warriors or any of the previous One Piece Pirate Warrior games, you'll know exactly what you're getting into here. Combat is both equally fluid yet chaotic. Each character will have their normal and heavy attack, but also powered up abilities that they can use, which perfectly aligns to their powers and abilities seen from the anime. And that might be pretty expected and not that special until you realize that there are a total of 61 characters across the base game and DLC. That's 61 characters who all have a myriad of different moves, abilities, different strengths, animations, also the scale of how big certain characters are, their power scaling, and in some instances, certain characters have different forms. And a large portion of the fun in this game is just trying out all those different characters and seeing how they differ from one another. The game will throw you into a level and you'll need to pick one character out of a certain crew, which really made me want to go back into each level just to try the other characters on hand, providing a really nice sense of replayability. On top of that, each character will fall into one of 4 typings here, which further changes how that particular character plays. It's a lot to take in and a lot to get right, and I'm really happy to report that the game does a perfect job in balancing everything. Each character feels exactly how you'd expect them to feel and play, and their abilities and beautiful animations feel like they've been taken straight from the anime to give players a seamless and cohesive experience between the anime and this game. So those 4 typings, what are they and what do they do? Well, there are power characters who can deal absolutely massive damage through finishes. You have speed characters who obviously like to move around the battlefield at fast speeds and have strong combo abilities. You have technique users who can use unique gameplay effects and sometimes require a bit of pre-planning to use them effectively. And lastly, you have sky characters who are more focused around aerial combat. And yes, characters do change their typing in this game based on what arc you play them in. Certain characters go through certain events in the anime or manga, and that can actually impact what typing they are in this game. It just further cements how closely the devs paid attention to the finer details of the combat and the events seen in the anime, which just makes this game so much better. But if you want to customize them even more, there are things called growth maps that contain many, and I mean many, things to invest in that give small incremental upgrades and buffs to the overall team. Move over one tab and then you go into that character's specific map that you're playing as. Now remember how I said there are 61 playable characters? Each will have their own maps, and oftentimes it's not just one. There is a shitload to look at here. These give overall buffs, and I'm not going to go too much into what they do here because we'll be here all day, but you'll also be unlocking souls in this game, and they go into the soul map. Yes, another map that gives more buffs. All of this is a lot, but for those who really like to min-max a character and have them play exactly how you want, or spec them out how you think the character should play as, well, there's a lot here for you to change, so eat your heart out. Now, if you can't be bothered with all this map junk, just assign stuff anywhere, and as long as you're on a normal difficulty, you should be mostly fine. And just touching on that difficulty, I would strongly advise not going down to an easy difficulty. It does prevent you from being able to obtain an S ranking, and enemies, well, they just kind of stand there. And you want even more to do? Instead of just playing through the story mode known as the dramatic log in this game, you can play through what's known as the free log, and this allows you to play through any episode or mission you've previously played before and aren't restricted to the characters that were only present at that time in that arc. This means that you can bring any character you've unlocked to farm resources if that's your speed. You want more to do? Fuck, you're a bit greedy. But okay, there's a treasure log in this game which will take you through either the East Blue, Grand Line or New World ranks, and within there are a bunch of missions to complete and a bunch of different rewards. The game offers even more, so as you play, each character unlocks different costumes from the arcs that you've cleared. There's character encyclopedias, there's a glossary, event viewer which allows you to play the cutscenes you've unlocked, a music player, a coin guide and a crew guide, and the list just goes on. So as you're bashing thousands of skulls together, you'll be placed in one of the game's 16 maps. There aren't too many maps to show here, but the maps included are really well done. There are faithful and exciting restructures of environments seen in the anime adapted to be functional levels here. The attention to detail on display is great for fans. While you're kicking the shit out of the infinite amount of enemies, you'll really come to appreciate each level proudly displaying elements from the anime, such as the rising bubbles from Sabaody, the war at Marineford having both ice and lava on display, and the enclosing birdcage from Dressrosa. Again, if you have seen the anime, revisiting these locations felt almost nostalgic. Most buildings you see here are also destructible, and it feels great when you unleash a powerful attack that launches an enemy into a building and it collapses on top of them. It does a fantastic job of selling that power fantasy. To further add, characters interact with one another exactly how you would expect them to. Now, most of these interactions are done on the battlefield, but they are just so funny. There are moments where Sanji turns to stone after seeing a woman. Zoro gets lost, of course, on the map, so you have to go find him and escort him yourself. And you also get Robin's yuck, disgusting, fleshy wings. Ugh, they're so fucking gross. Now there is also a bunch of DLC added to the game that gives you even more to do, and it looks to take you almost up to date with where the anime is. But since I haven't played them, I can't really speak to their quality. But man, just look at how well supported this game is. Now in saying that, it can't all be good, right? What were some of the weaker points I experienced? I think for me, some of the main or crucial arcs were just missing here. They are present in the previous games, but I feel like if you're going to go as far back as what this game does, and you try to aim to have this be the quintessential One Piece game, you need to give us some of those bigger moments back. I don't want to have to go back to previous games to experience those crucial and fundamental stories. In that sense, the game doesn't feel like a complete retelling of the story, And I was really disappointed that there was no Arlong Park, Scarpia, or Fishman Island. I know they can't include everything, but those are some really heavy hitting arcs that you're leaving on the cutting room floor. Next is that every single mission has the exact same resolution. You'll see different victory conditions pop up while you play, as well as submissions, but they all basically act the same. It's as simple as go to the flashing area on the map, kill the designated character that appears as a red dot on the map, and then move to the next mission. I appreciate the game gives you so many characters to play as in an attempt to vary up the gameplay, and in addition to the submissions to give you something else to do on the battlefield, but they're all executed in the exact same manner, so it all kind of feels pointless. It's always fight this person, stop this person by fighting them, help X character out on the field by, you guessed it, fighting those around them. After a while, I just started looking at the flashing bit on the map to tell me where I needed to go, and I didn't bother reading what I actually needed to do because it's always, without fail, only requiring me to fight enemies. Now I know it's a Dynasty Warrior type game and that's what you get with these kinds of games, but I feel like there could have just been a bit more mission variety here to stop that monotony from seeping in. So Pirate Warriors 4 truly is a love letter to not only the One Piece franchise, but also a celebration to all of its loyal fans. With a huge roster of characters to play as and unique combat moves spread across many notable moments seen throughout the anime, it's a game that truly captures the heart and spirit of One Piece. It is not beginner friendly though, as it does demand players to already be familiar with the franchise before playing, and if you pick this up without that knowledge, your enjoyment, at least on that story front, will surely diminish. At its core, it is a game that absolutely fulfills its purpose and scratches that over the top, high energy beat 'em up itch. There was a lot to balance here and they conclusively pulled it off, and I had zero performance issues and everything ran so smoothly on my potato PC, which tells me that this game is really well optimized. I would absolutely recommend that you pick up this game if you are a One Piece fan, and if you're not, well, just start watching it. It's really good. But thank you to the coffee supporters on the screen right now for your constant support. Leave a like and a sub if you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.